Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. I suppose most of you heard now of the meeting in Switzerland, the Davos World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab and You'll Own Nothing and Be Happy crowd, Bill Gates and all those. So they're meeting and they're attempting to build trust between themselves. I don't really know what that means. And they're going to really impose upon the rest of us the sort of world view that they want to impose. Now they're setting up this sort of what's already set up. Not setting up. They're setting this up. Have set this up. The structure of the world's billionaires and influence peddlers and bankers and behind the scenes string pullers and that sort of stuff. They're setting these folks are setting up a situation where they will effectively be a super government to which elected governments will report in and will come in to receive instructions on what they'll do next. I think we're already there, actually. There's no sovereign governments left in the Western world. They all report into the globalists. So we're kind of already there. There's some pushback, the Brexit. There's the Trump election win. There's the possibility of the congressional midterms in the United States creating a completely different and strong pushback type representation in Congress that's going to push back against globalization. I don't think the globalists will allow that. They've got far too much invested in this globalist project, and they will do everything they can. And 2020 demonstrated that. They will do anything, and what they can't control, they'll subvert. What they can't subvert, they will destroy, and that's their MO. That's their 101 playbook. So, but look, if globalization is such a good thing, I don't think it is, by the way, but if it's such a good thing, then clearly define it, which they don't seem to want to, and once having defined it, tell us why it's such a good thing. Sell it to us. I mean, surely if it's saleable, then you'd want to do that. Isn't that the way to do it? Bring the people with you. Sell it and say, this is why it's so good. This is what, we're looking out for you. We're going to create a better future for you. So come with us, join us, be part of this movement. It's because it's so good. It's so fantastic. And this is why. And this is how it's so fantastic and so good and so beneficial. But they don't do that, and this is one of the things I've been looking around at the various speeches and the claims and the papers and the discussion papers and the speakers that have been on the circuit there, looking for someone who's selling it to us, who's saying this is why it's so good, this is why we're investing so much in pushing it and forcing it upon you because it's so good. But no one's doing that, and I think the obvious reason why they're not doing it, I mean, they may think it's good, I suppose, but the reason why they're not trying to sell it is because it's unsaleable. Globalization offers nothing for the white people of the Western world. The white countries have become the repositories of globalist ambitions, and the white population, the local white population, just getting in the way. There's this phrase "great replacement," which is a globalist term, by the way, that if you use it, though, they say you're a conspiracy theorist. When they use it, they try and make themselves sound wise and all-knowing. How's that for hypocrisy? But they can't seem to sell just the basics of globalization. Why is it good? Tell us why it's good. But the great replacement isn't just a great replacement of white people, although that will be an indirect, direct and indirect consequence of the mass migration that they're forcing on the people without their consent. But they're also replacing every value, every belief, every piece of history, every hero, every achievement, every accomplishment. Everything is being replaced or derided as being evil. And if it's associated with white people, then it's evil. And this is something they're really pushing hard through the schools, the universities, the institutions, and indeed through the bodies politic of the West. Anything to do with white people is bad. And they'll take the most indirect association with things of the past. Like they try and make out that, as I think we all know, that slavery's been around for thousands of years. White people came very late to the game of slavery, and it was used at the time. It was used as really a source of labour, as a labour exchange. They try and carry on now. It was nothing to do with that. It was evil white Hitlers oppressing everyone, oppressing the black and brown people. But it was never that. And if it was, then go back into the many hundreds of years. You know, the Arabs were at it for seven plus hundred years. Really, you know, very organised, industrial scale slavery of the black African people. The Arabs were at it. Well, why aren't we talking about their slavery? You know, black people themselves making slaves of other black people. That's been around for thousands of years. Why aren't we talking about that? No, only white people. So, and anyone has an indirect association with a white person has an indirect association with slavery, then. And the governments, you know, Western governments under the direction of the globalists are spending vast sums of money. You know, activists are being given hundreds of millions of dollars variously to dig up anything, any propaganda that can be invented to make white people look bad. So any white hero of going back for all time is being examined on the basis of like one guy who once as a child, you know, worked in a cotton mill, and the cotton came from a slave plantation, or allegedly came from a slave. Therefore, on that basis alone, he was working there. He was like 10 years old or something. On that basis alone, he's now deemed as a Nazi because he once worked at a cotton mill. That's the insanity of it all. And some of these people are being paid. You know, these activists are being well rewarded for this. They can be paid, you know, $100,000, $250,000 just to go and dig up some anti-white propaganda, because that's what the rewards are for today. If you're one of the people trying to destroy white society and all it stood for and stands for and all it represents and all its achievements, all its history, if you're doing that, then you are a friend of the globalists, and they'll reward you. But if you're doing the hard work of the engineer that builds a bridge, then that's no big deal. No, that's just another job. But you're destroying, you're helping, you know, you're a political commissar destroying Western society. And some of these jobs are paying very well, you know, diversity officers, inclusion officers, all this sort of thing. So, but having a look at the globalist project when it was sort of kicking off, really coming out of the shadows and kicking off, you know, I did go and see some speakers, and back in the day they were running around, and these were people. There was the guy who was editor of one of the world's better known economics magazines, which is just nothing but a shill and a flack for the globalists. And he's a young guy, you know, born into wealth, married into more wealth, has a multi-million-dollar paycheck every year. I mean, he's not going to worry about globalization. He doesn't live in the places that are going to be affected by it. So, and he was quite sort of brazen about it. He said, "Look, and you know, if you're a white person living in the West now, then this is your option. You have to work 30 to 40% more hours to get the same purchasing power as you have today. This is in the years to come, or you have to take a 30 to 40% pay cut in terms of purchasing power. You will be living next door to people who are brown or black and can't speak English. You will be competing with third world peasants for your job, and that's it. If you don't like it, too fucking bad." And really, he went on there that that's how it's going to be, and if you don't like it, you're the problem. Not that the problem's being forced on you, which it quite clearly was. Not that the problem's being forced on you, but if you don't like it, if you don't like a 30 to 40% purchasing power pay cut, then you're the problem, and that's it. And if you complain about it or question it, then you're a Nazi. And it's that. And that was something that I heard for the first time, I guess, about 20 years ago. Yes, I invite the rest of you to go through what's being said at Davos, and the other thing that comes across is the utter contempt for what the people are concerned about, the white people of the West, the utter contempt. We don't even give a fuck about your concerns. Your concerns are not even relevant to. We're shaping the world now, and you have no say. You have no contribution to make to this, and nor do we think you should have a contribution. You're not even the shit on our shoes. We are we are the gods now. We are the gods that you once worshipped. We make the decisions and we will impose them upon you. We already control your governments, your politicians, your media, your institutions. We control everything and we will tell you what we have decided and you will go along with it, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, we'll just make your life miserable. We will crush you. Apart from calling you names, we will crush you. So this is the thing where globalization is going and or has gone. And I don't know. I mean, are we too far down the line? I don't think so, but it's going to take radical action to stop them now. I don't think we can use the normal methods of stopping would be through the institutions, through our elected representatives. And really, I think the midterm congressional elections and then the subsequent presidential election are about all. That's the last thing. I don't think beyond that it's going to be possible to stop these globalists and to prevent them or even slow them down. Now, if we look at 2020, they looked at that election and oh boy, we're going to lose. We have to subvert it. We have to subvert it big time if we're going to avoid losing. And I think they'll play some gambit along similar lines, not the same. Maybe they can't repeat that, but they're going to play some gambit on similar lines to subvert the congressional midterms and then in turn the 2024 election. They already control everything, but they realise that if people can get into power that are not globalists and are not controlled by the globalists, then that will just be that may slow them down, possibly stop them, but irritate them and annoy them. And they're so carried away with their own power now that this idea that an elected president of the world's largest economy has got a say in anything that can make a contribution. That's just no. We're in charge now. We recognise no authority greater than ourselves, and we will do what the fuck we want to you, whether you like it or not. And that's really where we're at now. You've been with Tacitus today at Your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.